Welcome to Return on the YouTube channel page. This is Supreet CB. In this class we are going to study the basic moves of the bishop and the rook, and also we are going to solve some of the puzzles on bishop and on rook. So now you can see in front on your screen that I have one bishop, just an empty chessboard, and I have one bishop from white. And I think already you have gone through my first video and you understood how the moves happens with the pawns and the knights, and I think you are much well versed with those things now. So bishop can only move on the diagonal. This is what I want to say. Bishop can only move on the diagonal at any direction. Now we move on the left direction. We move to the right direction here also. That means this position is known as h4, the bh4. And also it can move back. So anywhere. Suppose if the bishop was here, then you get somewhat long directions. You get here, and you get here, and diagonal at back here. Now we have the long way, and here also have a long way. So all the 360 degrees, the bishops can move diagonally. But only one condition is that in this way, if you have your own piece of anything, like say for example pawn, then you cannot move here. It stops. This pawn is going to stop your bishop. Even it cannot cross it and move it here. This cannot happen. Suppose if your pawn was here, then you have accessible to move only your bishop till here, because you cannot move to this button because you have your own pawn, and again you cannot jump it and go it here. Same thing happens with any direction, whether you move to the left side or the down, left, diagonal, or anywhere. But in case if you have your opponent's piece here, say for example if you have your opponent's, then you can easily capture this. You can capture it, and again you can make your own way to the next diagonals. So this is about the basic moves. So one thing very easily I can understand is bishop can move diagonals. Now can you tell me, if you have watched my first chess tutorial 1, what is the difference between this bishop and the pawn? So the pawns will move straight, but while capturing it can go diagonals, but only for one move. But bishop, again, they also move diagonally, not only capturing, while moving also they move diagonal only. So in this case, according to chess, we give bishop as 3 points. Even the knight had the same values, 3 points, and the pawns had only 1 point. Oh, so this is about a clear view about how bishop moves. There is nothing to explain here. Only thing, when we start solving some of the puzzles on the bishop, you may understand how this bishop is going to conquer or something. Let's start with the puzzle number 1 here. So on your screen now we have the puzzle number 1. So you are playing with the white again, thinking, and your bishop is on a starting position, that is on f. So bf1 what we say here, and your opponent is having a starting position. The pawn is at c7. Now my question is, the puzzle number 1. It's very simple, because usually my first puzzles will be very easy. The first puzzle, the condition is just that, as like we did it in the knight in the last video, just think that only your bishop is moving now continuously. Usually in any chess game we don't do this, because once if you play a white turn, of course the next move has to be played with the black. But now, assuming to solve this puzzle, I'm just saying you just think only your bishop has got a chance to move, and this so your opponent pause at the same place for the whole game. Now the question comes, in how many moves this bishop is going to capture your opponent's pawn? In how many moves? If you can pause this video, you can think. So after resuming the game, I can say the question itself is wrong. Yes, you might have got some, because your white bishop is on the white square, and whereas your opponent's black pawn is on the black square. And the condition is this pawn will not move anywhere. This white bishop and never capture this pawn at how much ever the moves you have, because always this bishop is going to move only on diagonals with only white squares. From here it moves white, and then again you're going to move white here. Even if you come back, it will be white. If you go here, it is white, and white here, and come back here, white. So always it's going to have white. So how much ever the moves you have, you can never going to capture this pawn. This is a very simple and silly puzzle also, I would like to say. So this is about the puzzle number 1. I think hardly you just need 30 seconds to answer this. So now let's go to the puzzle number 2. Now you are on white with the one pawn on the f2, and your opponent is somewhat with little high power, that is he is having bishop now with the bd7 as the position. We can name this. So somewhere here I cannot put the condition that, or the task like that, this pawn you're going to capture this pawn in bishop in how many moves or something like that, because pawn is only 1 point and the bishop is 3 points. So nowhere you're going to have a power on this bishop and have a power on the game. But then listen, what is the task of this puzzle? Listen here. It's now the black move. So black is going to move from bd7 to bg4. Just think. This is the position he's going to move. then what should be your move from the pawn? This is the actual small task on this. So now it's very simple task. From your F position you cannot move here, because once you move here it's going to capture here. Hence why it's very easy to understand this pawn, you're going to move it here. It's going to move here. Now this is not the complete task I asked you. Now comes again. So tell me the best move for the black bishop, whether to move this side or this diagonal or this diagonal or this diagonal. It's just I am asking a good move or best move, that's all. If you can pause this video you can answer me. So on resuming the video, so I asked you a question, this bishop is better now, what is the next best move for this bishop, whether this side or this diagonal or this diagonal or this diagonal.